Are you ready to unlock your potential and transform your life? Welcome to the Mind's Loom.
Today we're talking about something huge: how to master your emotions. This is all about learning how to turn those gut reactions into thoughtful, powerful responses. It's not about shutting your feelings down, but about building up your inner resilience. You know the feeling, right? You get a frustrating email and fire back a response you immediately wish you could unsend. Or maybe you say something sharp in a conversation, and the regret hits you a second later. That's the moment your emotions grab the steering wheel. But what if you could learn to hit the brakes, just for a second, and choose a completely different direction? Well, to understand how we've got to look at how our brain operates, it really has two different modes. First, you've got the reactive brain. This is run by a little part called the amygdala, and you can think of it like a super sensitive smoke alarm. It's designed to go off fast if the first sign of trouble, but sometimes it mistakes burnt toast for a house fire. On the flip side, you have the resilient brain. This is your prefrontal cortex, the calm, cool, collected fire marshal who walks in, assesses the situation and says, "Okay, let's handle this," instead of just ringing the bell. Now, this is so important to get. The point of all this isn't to become some kind of robot. It's not about turning your emotions off. Actually, trying to suppress your feelings is a really bad idea. It can lead to anxiety, depression, you name it. The real power is finding that sweet spot, that balance between being completely overwhelmed by your feelings and feeling nothing at all. And that brings us to the core skill we're trying to build here: emotional regulation. It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's the ability to feel what you're feeling: anger, sadness, joy, all of it, and respond in a way that's healthy and helpful instead of letting it just sweep you away. Because remember, your emotions are just signals. They're messengers from your inner world. So how does this whole emotional takeover even happen? Let's pull back the curtain on what we'll call the emotional hijack. Understanding the mechanics of it is really the first step to getting back in the driver's seat. So here's the chain of events. It all kicks off with an emotion, which is just a raw neurochemical reaction deep in the primitive part of your brain. Then your more advanced brain, the prefrontal cortex, becomes aware of it, and we call that a feeling. Right after that, a thought pops into your head, a little internal sentence like, "This is outrageous," or "I can't believe they did that." And if you don't do anything, that thought leads directly to an action. The snap, the angry email, you get the picture. Our job is to create a gap right before that last step. And what's really wild is that your body is usually the first to know you're being hijacked. Long before your conscious mind catches up, you might feel your heart start to pound, or your muscles get tight, or maybe you get that knot in your stomach. These are your body's early warning signals. They're your first best chance to notice what's happening and hit pause before things escalate. And that brings us to a really critical point. To make any of this work, we have to get our goals straight. We are aiming for regulation, not repression. It might sound like a small difference, but trust me, it's a total game changer. I just love this quote because it completely reframes the whole thing. Your emotions aren't your enemies. They're not there to mess with you. They're actually trying to tell you something. Think about it. Anger can be a message that a boundary has been crossed. Fear could be a signal that you need to get prepared for something. So when you stop fighting your emotions and start listening to them, you can use that information to make better choices. Okay, time to get practical. How do we actually start doing this? Well, the very first move, and honestly it might be the most important, is to just become aware. You have to notice what's going on inside you. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. This is going to sound way too simple, but it works. The simple act of putting a name to your feeling is incredibly powerful. Just saying to yourself, "Okay, I'm feeling angry right now," or "Wow, I am feeling really hurt," creates this little bit of space. It's like you take a step back and become the observer of the feeling instead of being consumed by it. And that alone can turn the intensity way, way down. Now we get to the magic moment. This is the pivot point where you go from being a passenger on an emotional roller coaster to being the one in the control booth. It all happens in what we call the power pause. It's all about creating that space between the trigger and your reaction. But first, let's be clear on what a trigger is. It's anything. It could be a word, a specific situation, even just someone's tone of voice that sets off an immediate and intense emotional reaction. And a lot of the time, these triggers are connected to our past experiences, which is why they have so much power over us in the present. So when you feel that trigger, here's your new go-to tool, the PUSE method. It's an acronym that walks you through the whole process. First, up, pause, and notice those physical signs. Then A, acknowledge what's happening without judgment. U, understand why you're having this reaction. This, select a thoughtful response, one that aligns with your values. And finally E, engage mindfully. This little framework is your key to unlocking resilience right in the middle of a storm. So, reacting well in the moment is one thing, but what about the long game? That's where this final section comes in. Think of this as going to the gym for your mind. We're going to talk about the habits you can build that strengthen your resilient brain over time, making you stronger and more prepared for whatever life throws you. And here are 4 of the best tools for the job. Journaling is incredible for processing difficult emotions. It lets you get the pain out on paper so you can find your power. Mindfulness is all about training your brain to stay right here, in the present, instead of getting lost in the past or worrying about the future. You can also get into the habit of actively questioning and challenging those negative thoughts that fuel bad reactions. And last but not least, you've got to manage your environment. That last one, managing your environment, is summed up perfectly by this idea. I mean, you can't grow a healthy plant in toxic soil, right? It's the same for your mind. If you're surrounded by people who are constantly negative or critical, it's going to affect you. But if you surround yourself with people who are positive and empowering, it's like giving your mind the best nutrients possible. Another really powerful practice is using affirmations or auto-suggestions. Here's the deal. If you don't consciously program your own mind, the world around you will program it for you. So repeating phrases like these every single day starts to rewire your brain. You're literally telling it how you want it to think and act. You're installing new, better software. And really, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one profound truth. Your thoughts literally create your reality. Your ability to notice your thoughts, to challenge them, and to choose which ones you focus on. That is the absolute foundation of emotional mastery. It all starts right here in your mind. So as we wrap this up, please remember this. Building emotional resilience is a practice. It's like working out. You're not going to be perfect, especially at the beginning, and that is completely okay. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress. So don't beat yourself up when you slip. Instead, celebrate every single time you manage to catch yourself. Every single time you pause, every one of those pauses is a win. So you have the toolkit. Now you have the blueprint. The only question left is, what are you going to do with it? What's the very first brick you're going to lay today? Maybe it's just deciding to notice your breathing the next time you feel stressed. Maybe it's writing down one feeling in a journal tonight. What is that one small, simple step you'll take to start building a more resilient you? If you found this helpful, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and let's keep climbing toward our best selves.